the shadow of jealousy, and the curse, jealousy. Among the shadows, the city shimmered with its night lights, amid the echoing sounds of cars on dark streets, the laughter of university students, and the city's endless hustle. Four friends continued to share their lives. Elif, Ayşe, Burak, and Merve. They studied at the same faculty, attended the same classes, and often spent most of their time together. Elif was calm and introverted, attracting attention with her silence since childhood, yet captivating others with her deep intuition. Ayşe, on the other hand, was flashy, confident, and always the center of attention. Next to her, Elif often felt invisible, yet she believed she was firmly bound to Ayşe's friendship. Burak, the only male in the group, was the class's most diligent student. His quiet nature brought him closer to Elif, while his intellect connected him to Ayşe, and Merve's cheerful personality balanced the group. Merve was lively, sincere, and somewhat naive. Even when she sensed the cold tensions between her friends, she dismissed it as exaggeration and tried to change the topic. The first sparks. Everything began when the bond between Burak and Elif was seen differently by others. Elif felt nothing beyond friendship for Burak, seeing him like a brother, but Ayşe thought otherwise. Ayşe started feeling secretly disturbed by Burak turning to Elif instead of her. Used to being in the spotlight, she felt for the first time like she was fading into the background, especially during a class presentation when she noticed Burak's gaze on Elif. The poison of jealousy began to spread inside her. Merve noticed the tension between the two, but hardly cared. "You're overthinking. Burak sees you both just as friends." Yet in Ayşe's eyes, there was something else, a spark of hatred that would endure for years. Dark curiosity. While wandering through the university library, Ayşe discovered a dusty old notebook among the ancient books. Its cover was worn, inscribed with Arabic letters and symbols she couldn't understand. As she flipped through the pages, she found writings about spells and rituals. Normally, a student would dismiss such things, but a dark idea entered Ayşe's mind. To sever Elif's bond with Burak, even ruin her life. The section titled Love and Jealousy Spells caught her eye. According to it, if you cursed someone with your own hands, everything they loved would be taken from them, and their life would slowly crumble. Ayşe laughed to herself at first. This is ridiculous. Who would believe this? Yet jealousy can drive a person to the most irrational acts. The first attempt one night, in her dorm room, Ayşe lit candles and decided to try the ritual from the book. She took out a small bracelet Elif had given her. It must be her possession, the book instructed. Sitting among the candles, she muttered the Arabic letters, imitating the script. The room suddenly turned cold. The wind slammed the window. Ayşe hesitated but continued. When she closed her eyes, a whisper echoed in her mind. "Your jealousy has joined with me. I will leave her to you, but you must pay the price." Startled, Ayşe watched as the candles went out. When she opened her eyes, no one was there, but a profound darkness pressed against her throat. Elif's nightmares. From that day on, Elif's nights were plagued with nightmares. A dark shadow strangled her, suffocating her, whispering into her eyes, "You are not worthy of her." Upon waking, she found bruises on her throat and scratches on her arms. At first, she tried to rationalize it. Perhaps she had fallen or scratched herself, but it worsened day by day. Burak noticed the paleness in Elif's face. "Are you okay? You look really tired lately." Elif smiled faintly, shivering, just a little sleep-deprived. Yet deep down, she knew something was following her. Friendship cracks. One day, while sitting in the faculty cafeteria, Ayşe spoke up. Elif, aren't you too close to Burak? You're giving people something to talk about. Elif looked at her, shocked. What are you saying, Ayşe? We're just friends. Burak immediately intervened. Please don't say nonsense. We're all just friends. But Ayşe's gaze was ice cold. Merve tried to ease the tension, but it was clear. The four friends' bond would never be the same. The first disappearance. The curse's effect grew stronger. One night, while leaving the dorm, Elif suddenly blacked out. Her friends could not find her until dawn. She was finally discovered unconscious in an abandoned parking lot on the outskirts of the city. She had no memory of how she got there. Merve hugged her tearfully. Something bad is happening to you, Elif. You have to face it. But Elif remained silent. The darkness inside her was too powerful to describe. Ayşe's satisfaction. Ayşe felt a secret thrill at Elif's suffering. Every day she felt stronger. Repeating the words from the book, she continued her midnight rituals. She was no longer alone. A presence listened to her. It whispered, I will bring you what is rightfully yours. I will destroy her. A strange smile appeared on Ayşe's face. What she didn't notice was that the curse was not only targeting Elif. It was, after all of them, the spirit was too greedy to settle for just one soul. Whispers of the night one night, Elif saw Ayşe's face in a dream, but behind it, there was something else. A creature with pitch-black eyes, long fangs, and decaying skin. Elif woke screaming. Looking out the window, she saw the same shadow under the street lamp. That night, Burak came to her room. Elif trembled violently. It won't leave me, Burak. It's everywhere. Ayşe, like her shadow. Burak didn't understand, but he knew Elif wasn't alone. Meanwhile, Ayşe whispered with a smile in front of a dark mirror in her room. Now she belongs to me. And so, the jealousy that replaced friendship began turning into an irreversible curse. The rise of the djinn and the curse Elif's life was no longer the same. Even while walking through the university corridors, she felt someone watching her. And when she entered her room, she knew the shadows would envelop her. Her dreams had become more nightmarish, and she could no longer sleep through the night without waking. Secret observation. Ayşe, meanwhile, was growing bolder. The curse's influence had strengthened alongside the dark entity that whispered silently beside her at night. She would no longer be satisfied with destroying only Elif's soul. Burak and Merve would also fall victim to the curse. One night, Ayşe decided to perform the ritual again. Following the book's instructions, she lit candles and spread talismans inscribed with Arabic letters in the middle of her room. The air suddenly grew heavy. The candle flames flickered, and shadows on the walls twisted into strange shapes. In a corner of the room, a pitch-black figure appeared, long-armed, with eyes burning like fire. The djinn whispered to Ayşe, "The power is ours now. Your anger, my hunger, we will destroy them." Ayşe shivered, but responded to the whisper, "They will overshadow my life, so I will destroy theirs." Elif's escape. That night, Elif saw the shadow in her dream again. This time it was more real. The dark entity had entered her room and stood by her bed. Elif screamed, but her voice was muffled. The shadows slowly pressed down on her, making it hard to breathe. When she woke up in the morning, Ayşe's bracelet lay beside her bed. She realized the magic had seeped into the real world, not just her dreams. She called Burak and explained, "You don't understand, Burak. This isn't something a human can do. We need to see it for what it is." Burak was skeptical, but the tremor in her voice and the bruises on her hands were enough to convince him. The djinn intervenes now. The djinn targeted everyone around Elif. Merve, reading a book in her room, suddenly saw the pages flipping by themselves. A shadow with widening eyes leaned over her. She screamed, but no sound escaped the room, and no help could reach her. Burak rushed to her room and found her unconscious. Elif and Burak exchanged a fearful glance. The curse had spread to the entire friend group. The price of university jealousy. Ayşe felt a silent victory over Elif in class. Every day, Elif's life continued to crumble, and the growing tension between her and Burak fueled Ayşe's plan. Yet she did not notice that the djinn was growing stronger with an uncontrollable hunger. Even Ayşe could no longer fully control it. One day, during a lab experiment, Elif's devices suddenly exploded. Fire and smoke filled the room as students panicked and fled. Elif, leaning against a scorched table, stared at Burak in horror. This is Ayşe. Only she could do this. The power of the spell and the first threat. That night, a mysterious letter was left in Elif's room. It contained only one sentence. If you don't leave me, you will lose everyone you love. Elif shivered. The spell was no longer just a threat. It was a tangible danger. Burak didn't know what to do, even by her side. Ayşe, meanwhile, had lit candles in her room and prepared to perform the ritual again. The djinn silently waited in the corner, its black eyes fixed on Elif's soul. It moved quietly, extended a hand, and whispered, "You will be mine, either willingly or by force." Elif wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Burak saw her vacant stare and realized it was not only Elif who was being pulled into this darkness. He was too. The first losses Merve disappeared again that night. This time, no one understood what had happened. The only clue left behind was a small talisman in her room. When Elif touched it, a chilling cold swept over her, as if Merve's soul were trapped inside. Burak tried to calm Elif. "We have to find a way. It's just a spell. There must be a solution." But the solution was powerless. Ayşe's magic had merged with the djinn, making it too powerful to be limited by human logic. The rise of the djinn. That night, as Elif and Burak sat in the room, the lights went out, shadows shifted, and the djinn emerged. Tall, with pitch-black eyes, and breath misting from its lips, the djinn thundered, "Everything in my grasp is mine. Deliver her to me, or you will all perish." Elif trembled, and Burak stood behind her. Ayşe smiled from the other corner. "Everything is going as I planned. Not just Elif, everyone will be my plaything." The midnight battle. The djinn moved through the house like an invisible force. Doors slammed, objects flew, mirrors cracked. Elif's heart constricted. Burak tried to protect her, but couldn't match its power. Suddenly she remembered. If the rituals in the book were performed correctly, the djinn could be sent back. But the cost was heavy. One person would have to sacrifice their own life. Tears in her eyes, she looked at Burak. "I have to do this. Otherwise, no one will survive." And in that moment, the seeds of the first sacrifice sprouted in the darkness of the house. Amid the chaos, the city looked darker at night. The university campus, the streets, the apartment buildings, everywhere carried an air of tension and fear. Elif, Burak, and Merve realized that Ayşe's magic and the djinn's influence had fully risen. Now, it was not just Elif. Burak and Merve were directly threatened as well. That night, once again, a mysterious shadow entered Elif's room. The djinn with black eyes filled the space with its long arms. Its eyes burned like fire, and its breath spread dark mist into every corner. The djinn leaned toward Elif and whispered, "You belong to me now. Bring them to me, or you will all be lost." Elif's heart shattered. There was no choice left without sacrificing her own life. Her friends and loved ones could not be saved. Ayşe's final target. Ayşe sat in the other corner of her room, surrounded by candles, turning the pages of the book. What she did not notice was that the djinn was no longer only after Elif. It had turned toward her as well. As it grew stronger, it acted independently, moving according to its own will. Ayşe shivered. The candles went out. Suddenly the djinn appeared before her, its black eyes fixed on her. "You served me, but you overstepped. Now, you too are under my control." Ayşe recoiled in fear. As the one who initiated the magic, she had become part of the curse herself. Merve's terror, Merve, reading in her room, encountered the shadow once more. The shadows moved rapidly. Objects spun in the air. Merve screamed, but her voice was muffled and swallowed. Elif rushed to her room with Burak following. When Elif reached Merve, she could hardly believe her eyes. Merve stared blankly, frozen. The djinn hovered in the room, ready to consume her soul. Elif whispered to Burak, "There's nothing we can do, but if I sacrifice myself, everyone can be saved." Burak couldn't hold back his tears. "No, Elif, you can't do this. We'll find another way." But time was running out. The graveyard ritual. Elif remembered the magic book. It stated that the only way to send the djinn back was for the person who initiated the magic to sacrifice their own life. That night, they decided to perform the ritual in an old corner of the city graveyard. Candles were lit, and Arabic talismans were spread on the ground. The djinn emerged from the shadows surrounding them. The djinn roared, "You cannot stop me. Bring her to me, or I will destroy you all." Elif trembled but began the ritual. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and drove the knife into her own heart. As her blood touched the earth, a horrific scream echoed through the sky. The djinn's collapse, Elif's sacrifice, shattered the spell. The djinn hung in the air in fury, its eyes glowing but powerless. Burak and Merve were found unconscious at the edge of the graveyard. The djinn finally retreated, merging back into the dark shadows. Ayşe fainted under the ritual's effect. The book and candles burned, and the darkness fully dissipated. The magic was gone, and the djinn had left the city. A tragic ending. Elif lay in the center of the graveyard, covered in blood. Burak and Merve ran to her. Her eyes were open, but she no longer breathed. When villagers and students approached to bury her, a thin black smoke rose from the graveyard. Elif's soul remained, but it was now a prisoner of darkness forever. Burak collapsed to his knees, tears streaming. "Elif, why?" Merve wept silently, and Ayşe, trembling, looked at Elif. No one could ever return to their old lives. Whispers and closure. That night, the city was silent. But from the corner of the graveyard, a faint whisper spread. "I am here, but I am no longer alone." The djinn's laughter merged with the darkness of the night. Through Elif's sacrifice, her friends and loved ones were saved. But her soul would remain trapped in darkness for eternity.